Tag TV brings you daily news bulletin from India. Breaking news and views from India.
You're watching South Asia Newsline and here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Monday, the 23rd of December. PM Modi concludes historic visit to Kuwait, ties elevated to strategic partnership. EU criticizes Pakistan's military court sentences, cites human rights concerns. And 60,000 more Rohingya flee Bangladesh amid escalating conflict in Myanmar. And now for all the details. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi this past weekend wrapped up his visit to Kuwait, during which the two countries elevated their relationship to strategic partnership. The visit by PM Modi to Kuwait was the first by any Indian premier to the Gulf country in over 43 years. During his visit, the Indian Prime Minister held talks with Kuwait's top leadership, including Amir Sheikh Maishal Al Ahmad Al Jaber Al Sabah, following which both countries elevated their ties to strategic partnership. During the visit, he also held talks with Crown Prince Sabah Al Khalid Al Hamad Al Mubarak Al Sabah and his Kuwaiti counterpart Ahmad Abdullah Al Ahmad Al Sabah. In a significant gesture, Prime Minister Modi was awarded Kuwait's highest honor, the Order of Mubarak Al Kabir, in recognition of his efforts to strengthen relations between the two nations.
That this historic visit of the Prime Minister will open up a new chapter in the relationship between India and Kuwait. Both the sides have been able to identify several important areas of cooperation, and the governments will be working towards fulfillment of the plans that have been made during this visit.
As UN prepares to celebrate its 80th anniversary, India stressed that reform is key to the organization's relevance in addressing current and future global challenges, as world leaders signed off on an ambitious pact in 2024 to transform global governance and drive sustainable action. India has been at the forefront of years-long efforts calling for reform of the Security Council, including expansion in both its permanent and non-permanent categories, saying the 15-nation council, founded in 1945, is not fit for purpose in the 21st century and does not reflect contemporary geopolitical realities. Delhi has underscored that it rightly deserves a permanent seat at the horseshoe table. India's call for change from the UNGA lectern came amid ongoing global conflicts, including the Ukraine war entering its third year, the Israel-Hamas war, and escalating global threats like terrorism, climate crisis, economic inequality, and attacks on women's rights. Amid these global challenges, India has consistently advocated dialogue and diplomacy to arrive at solutions and resolve conflicts. The European Union on Monday expressed concern a day after 25 civilians were sentenced by Pakistani military court to periods of 2 to 10 years of rigorous imprisonment in connection with attacks on military facilities in 2023. In a statement, the EU's European External Action Service said these verdicts are seen as inconsistent with the obligations that Pakistan has undertaken under the Inter-Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. The statement added, under ICCPR, every person is entitled to a fair and public trial in a court that is independent, impartial and competent, and has the right to adequate and effective legal representation. Notably, Pakistan is among the beneficiary countries under the EU's Generalized Scheme of Preferences Plus and have voluntarily agreed to implement effectively 27 international core conventions, including the ICCPR. Thousands of Khan supporters had stormed military installations and torched a general's house on May 9, 2023 to protest against the former premier's arrest by paramilitary soldiers. At least 8 people were killed in the violence. The military's Inter-Services Public Relations Office had termed the sentences handed down on Saturday as an important milestone in dispensation of the justice to the nation. Amid escalating conflict between the junta government and rebel Arakan army in Myanmar, a fresh 60,000 Rohingya entered Bangladesh in the last 2 months, reports have suggested. Bangladesh is hosting over 1.2 million Rohingya in its southwestern Cox's Bazar district. Most of the Rohingya Muslims fled from Myanmar in August 2017 in a military crackdown. The Rohingya infiltration has also been facilitated by corruption on the Bangladesh-Myanmar border, as some people help the Rohingya cross border in exchange for money. A long-running rebellion in Myanmar has gained ground since the military's 2021 coup, involving a complex array of armed groups, with Rohingya fighters now entering the fray. Many have joined groups loosely allied with their former military persecutors to fight an ethnic army that has seized much of the western Myanmar state of Rakhine, from which many Rohingya fled. With the decision by the Hong Kong-based Fitch Ratings to upgrade Sri Lanka's credit rating, the island nation has officially ended its debt default, the Finance Ministry said this past weekend. Fitch upgraded Sri Lanka's long-term credit default rating to CCC Plus from CCC, as it said that the risk of another default on local currency debt has been reduced by the completion of the international sovereign bond restructuring and an improved outlook for macroeconomic indicators. Sri Lanka had plunged into an economic crisis when the island nation declared sovereign default in mid-April of 2022, its first since gaining independence from Britain in 1948. Almost civil war-like conditions and months of public protest led to the fleeing of then-President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. There have been 3 presidents and 3 finance ministers since the country was plunged into crisis. Current President Anurakumara Dissanayike's government has recently concluded its 3rd review of the IMF bailout and is awaiting the 4th tranche of the nearly $3 billion facilities. The District Government Attorney's Office in Kaski on Sunday filed charge sheets against former Home Minister Rabi Lamichhane on charges of fraud, organized crime and money laundering in connection with the Surya Darshan cooperative fraud case. According to the District Attorney's Office, the police have also filed charge sheets against former Deputy Inspector General Chabilal Joshi, Leela Pachai, Ram Bahadur Khanal and Krishna Bahadur Gurung on the same 3 charges. Additionally, cases have been filed against 8 companies implicated in the scam. The police report recommends a prison sentence of 4 to 6 years for Lamichhane for cooperative fraud, an additional 50% penalty for organized crime and 2 to 15 years in prison, along with a fine amounting to double the embezzled sum of money laundering. Lamichhane, who is likely to face suspension as a member of parliament, has denied the allegations of money laundering, cooperative fraud and organized crime in his statement to the Kaski police station. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.
Tag TV brings you daily news bulletin from India. Breaking news and views from India.